The Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Okay, let's go to Paris. Okay, now what has Paris got to do with Our Lady? Well, everything, really. We all know everything, and we can, everything's got everything to do, because we know the Notre Dame, Our Lady Church burned down, and we know this is the center of French life. So we're going to go this rather fast because we're running out of time, but we'll just mention past it. Okay, we have here Denis, 1140, the Gothic idea started off, Abbot Sugar. This is an example. These are called. We're going to make more detail about these, what this is all about. But anyway, here we have, this is the Denis, where it all started off, and we have here, these is the different parts of the Gothic cathedrals. You see, they have the three portals here, and we got all the names of these things. We will come up with a bit of the jargon, which I mucked up recently, about all the names of this thing. But we just say we're going into this church. We'll go very fast because they're going to go to other places too. We're going to go to this in these portals. They go inside. This is the Church of Saint Denis, which today is a pretty seedy area of Paris. Pointed arches, pilasters, pillars, vaults of different kinds. You see, and light. You see, the idea of Plato was that through nature you could come to God, and it was this kind of an ethereal thing, the Platonic. So the Neoplatonists had a big accent on light. You see, and so we have here. You see, just in other churches we got. You see, have the vaults. You see, you have here the vaults, the clerestory. Up the top thing, and you've got these rows. We'll go into detail. Maybe if we can get to a page where we can, we'll describe all the technical terms of these things in a minute. But anyway, the idea was, the Gothic idea is that it's light. In other words, this is heaven. Because in the old ideas, the Romanesque, it was pretty heavy. Because we've got the pointed arches and you've got the vaults, you can get the height, you can get the light, you can make the walls have light coming through them, and light is God. In other words, this guy Sugar, he wanted to promote the French monarchy. He wanted to bring us together to heaven. He wanted to make the French nation. He wanted to build up Europe. In other words, there's a bit of triumphalism here, but he was also a Benedictine monk. His job was to bring people to heaven. So this is where the whole thing started off. I'll forego going more into detail here because we're going to another Gothic church which we all know, the Notre Dame. In a few minutes we'll take off. You see these signs. You can see here very clearly what the whole Gothic thing is all about here. But we won't stop too long here because we're going to go to another. We can describe what all these terms are. I mean, the idea is Gothic is light, spiritual, heaven today, monarchy, triumphalism, unity, and you see, have the altar here. We've got the new altar. The front which isn't up to much, but they have the old story of the old altar behind there. All right. So now we're going to leave the Church of Saint Denis. You see, this is it. This is where the Gothic idea started. But it wasn't the Gothic was a combination of ideas. It wasn't just the whole thing started 1140 Sugar. The whole thing has been building up, just like the Renaissance. It's a combination of history, theology, the Catholic faith, Our Lady, building up the Gothic dream. Okay, now we're going to leave this church in a minute. Because we want to get to Notre Dame. This is the Carolingian and the Merovingian kings. You have the kings of France. These are French kings and queens. They seem to be praying even when they're dead. Okay, now we're just why we're coming to this because this is life in Paris today. So this is the Catholic Church living. These are all living Catholics. They are getting on with life. We will just listen to what the Parisian is doing. How can he join this life to God? That's the problem. Life in Paris. This is the rat race. La vie de Paris. Okay, sphinxes. Napoleon had a lot to do with this. He went down to Egypt and he brought all this Egyptian stuff. See, he was on him. Okay, now here we are, boys. Okay, one goes. You see, look, we'll just mention a few things in passing. This is the facade. This is the facade of the Notre Dame Church. And we have here the three portals, you see. There's 1, 2, this is when we blocked it. 1, 2, 3, the portals. Now, they appear to be symmetrical, but one of the ideas, we can't point it out, this is supposed to be, this is the center, the whole of French life is from this place. Everything is, how far is it from here? How far is it from Notre Dame? If you go north, south, east to west, how the distance is here from Notre Dame. Our Lady, so Our Lady is the center of the whole thing. So, and this is a Gothic, so we stated that Gothic started about 1140, but in less than 100 years we have this, another Gothic power, this magnificent church which has just been burnt, but it's still going on. Now you see here, you've got, now we've just pointed out, these, we think that they're fairly symmetrical, but because part of the Gothic principles is this kind of rhetoric. In rhetoric, in other words, how to talk. So this architecture has to talk. Now, if every one of these doors is exactly the same, it becomes boring. So they're not symmetrical, they're asymmetrical on purpose. And many other items here are asymmetrical. Now, what we have here is if you just each door here, this is this is the arch here. And then then you have on the jambs on besides here, and then you have the archivolts, this is the facade, and then you have all the going up to the double tower. Now we can remind ourselves, this church, all sorts of important things happened. Probably the most dastardly thing that happened was during the French Reformation. They on the altar of this church, they put a prostitute and bowed to her, and she was the goddess of reason. And that's where you have the Freemasons. So we better be suspicious of the Freemasons. Because what were the Freemasons? The Masons were the people who built these. How did the Freemasons come from? This was the age of cathedrals. The building cathedral was a long, difficult procedure. And we go, so these are the tympanum. The long, difficult procedure, so it was very complicated. They had the Masons, the people who built the church, they had these big books. So when these people wanted to tear up the Catholic Church, which is what the Freemasons started off they had the rules of the Masons who built these cathedrals. Then you had a Presbyterian minister who put in the anti-vitriol, Catholic anti-vitriol, and there you have the Freemasons. Well, we're not pulling down the Freemasons because they do a lot of good job and help us, but I mean, that's what the things are. Freemasons, liberty, equality, fraternity is the song of the Enlightenment, and let's forget about God, just be free and equal in brotherhood. Now, we're going to stop for a minute here because we just want to go. There we have Emperor Charlemagne, you see, Charles the Great. His grandfather kicked out the Moors at the Battle of Poitiers farther south. So he's the grandee, the prototype, the template, Charlemagne, the great Charles, who united Europe, you see. So now you can see we're going to state it, this is the jambs, the tympanum, the archivolts, the arch, and these are the gates here. So these are the portals, the main doors of the Charles archivolts, you see. All right. Now, when we go in here, you see you've got Our Lady here. Now let's just remind ourselves when we're going through. So as you say, one of the things we just stated, the goddess of reason. Napoleon invited the Pope to come here and crown him in 1804, but he wanted to make a fool of the Pope, so he got the Pope there, and the Pope was going to put the crown on his head. And what did Napoleon do? He took the crown himself and put it on his own head. He made a fool of the Pope, in other words. Now here we've got these lancet windows, and we can see these are called trefoils. You see, foils, trefoil, cusp foil. Up here, you see, look, this is foils. Trefoil, F-O-L, cusp of the trefoil, and these build up some of the tracery in these windows. All right, you have the rose window up there. and you can see these vaults. All right, there's the rose window of these castles. Next to this church, just incidentally. Okay, now let's listen to the bells. Trefoil, gaskets. Oh, we got another. We got another. We're going to. All right, now we'll just go through. We're just going very, very quickly. We're just going to show. This is what is this? The story here is the miraculous medal, and Our Lady gave her a miraculous medal with. There are thousands of these miraculous medals all over the shop. And there was a kind of, if you look at the miraculous medal, it's got on one side you have M, which is Our Lady. On the other side you have Our Lady giving grace. Now what we're going to do is, have you heard of the Sisters of Mercy? They used to have these funny big hats, but recently they come down. So they were started by St. Vincent. So in every Catholic church there used to be, in every Catholic church there used to be. Now I have a problem. I remember, I'm not a kind of antiquarian. I remember I went to Athens. And I went to the Athens Museum where they've got the Elgin marbles. I think it took me 10 minutes to get through the museum. So I have a problem, things are a bit too quick. So I'm just going to slow down and just concentrate on this. You see, look now. You have here St. Vincent. Now St. Vincent, every Catholic church, they used to have a St. Vincent Society. You have the Legion of Mary and then you have the St. Vincent Society. And this guy was a holy guy, Frenchman, and he used to say his prayers very dutifully. But one day he was going to complete his devotions, saying, "My dear God, do look after me, and I'm going to be a good chaplain." And there was a nun saying, "Father, you are spending all your time praying in the church. Can't you notice out there you've got the society is going to bits? The people are poor. The whole place is in shambles. It's all very well going to church, but you know, what about helping the people?" So he started. Now all over the world, the St. Vincent Society, there are hospitals, charity, thousands of men doing every good work you can think of. So in other words, he was an example of somebody who said his prayers dutifully, but he also got on with looking after people in the world. You see, so that's St. Vincent. Well, because there was a nun here called Catherine Labouré, which we'll just come to in a minute. We can see her uncorrupted body in a few minutes. So this is the church here. All right, this is Catherine. This is St. Vincent. He's helping children, helping an old guy. And we're now going to the center of the story, which is Catherine Labouré. Okay, there was this nun. She was a French nun. Okay, so we'll finish off here, just describing this up, because this is, in other words, this little picture here, we can see we're in a church in Paris, and the Catherine Labouré, this is in about 1830. In 1830, she started off the Marian, and she was a simple nun, and Our Lady had a task for us to bring to us a sacred medal. So we've completely run out of time, so I can't continue with this. But this program was supposed to be talking about Our Lady. So just look at her. 1830, she appeared to this nun called Catherine Labouré. Then she went to Fatima and run every day, all over the world. I'm living in Taipei. Our Lady's appeared in the hospital next door. She appeared just down the road somewhere else. So she's appearing everywhere. So just to finish off, this Our Lady, do you see her hands? They're rays of light coming out. The rays are the graces. So let's ask Our Lady to go to Jesus and say, "Look, Jesus, could you please clean up this world and give us a bit of grace?" She's the mother of Jesus. She can do she can do whatever she likes with Jesus. Jesus will listen to her. Okay, see you next time. God bless.